Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of OT Cyber Wraps. Today, my name is Jason Weber. I'm the host. I'm the Vice President of Product at Veracity Industrial Networks. And today we have a new member of the team. His name is Jim Crowley. He's just joined us as our new CEO. Jim, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Jason. Hi, I'm Jim Crowley. I'm CEO of Veracity Industrial Networks. I've been around the OT security space for close to 15 years now. Super excited about leading the team here at Veracity and all the great things we're going to be doing in the market.
Good, nice. How about you give us a little bit of background on yourself? Where'd you come from? What you've been doing?
Well, actually, I come to this job, I want to say pretty honestly, because I started out as an industrial product salesman. So I've been on the plant floor. I've started out managing a territory early in my career, calling on shipyards, pulp and paper, auto parts manufacturing, and in a variety of other sort of heavy industries in northern New England. But as that stuff started to wind down a little bit in our neck of the woods, I migrated over into technology business and spent a number of years in energy management software, petroleum distribution software, automated metering systems, and ultimately ended up in the information security business a little further down the road. And then was one of the original management team members at Industrial Defender close to 15 years ago. We were the first company that really started to thinking about how to secure OT systems and networks. So been around the space quite a while. I think it's a great mission. There's a lot of work to be done. I spoke with one of the analysts the other day in the market. They believe that only about 5% of the OT market is at a high maturity level. So lots of headroom to help people out.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So what made you gravitate towards the OT industry? What draws you to it?
Well, I think it's a really unique mission. It's actually a great mission to build a company around, because you get out of bed every day and you have something to accomplish that has actually some social value, right? So we're not only, building technology, which is cool, and implementing technology, which is cool, and automating things and working with great clients and partners, but at the end of the day, we're keeping manufacturing lines running, keeping food going, making sure the beer gets to market, right? So all of the important things in life, right? So, we're not only helping, our customers, but we're helping society at large operate effectively or efficiently. And as the world continues to be, geopolitically, a scary place, what Veracity and other companies in our market are doing to help harden the industrial core of the country is very, very important.
Yeah, it is. It is. I have to admit, one of the things that draws me to OT is I just like watching stuff get made. I just find it fascinating, the manufacturing.
Yeah, well, I think we've all been in very interesting places, whether that's down in the bowels of a dam somewhere, or on a plant floor where they're just hammering stuff out. Or in a power plant in the middle of nowhere that's keeping the lights on. There's a lot that I don't think our society recognizes in the background that makes our lives what they are today.
Oh, that's absolutely true. So you just joined us, and I know you went and you had other opportunities you could have done. So why Veracity? What about Veracity drew you towards it?
Well, I think there's a lot of complexity in the market around cybersecurity, and there's a lot of confusion about what people should do and how to go about their program. And the Veracity technology and the underlying software-defined networking approach just seemed to me to cover off a lot of issues and problems in the market. So as an example, being able to put in something relatively quickly, harden your network, and get an ROI doesn't exist today. You tend to have to buy some relatively complex technology, have a team to manage it. And again, whether that's managing network IDS, or putting endpoint technology in, or spinning up a SEM, those are all good things to do. They're great things to do if you have the time and effort and money to do it, and the resources to do it. But Veracity, just has a very simple approach to hardening the OT network, which is what we're all really trying to do anyway, is keep the bad guys off our networks. And you get a lot of bang for your buck with it. And I think there's a lot of places where this would be a lot of markets where this would be an excellent place to start if you're starting a security journey.
Good, good. So what trends are you seeing in the cybersecurity market? Where do you see things going? You've been in it for quite a while now and been in a number of startups. So where do you see things going?
Well, I think just generally, I mean, there's still a lack, as I mentioned earlier, still a lack of maturity, right? So that's one trend, at least in OT. If you, I had a conversation with a CISO, one of the largest banks in the country, not that long ago, and their budget for security is $1 billion a year. Right?
Wow.
And we're not in OT spending that kind of money yet, right? So, and hopefully we won't have to, but the spend is still probably relatively limited to the scope of the problem, or the threats that we're facing. So I think one of the trends that will happen over time is that there'll be additional spend in this area to harden the networks and to put people in a better position to defend themselves. The other thing is that there's continues to be a lack of resources. This is no new news to people that have tried to build security teams out. You hire someone, you train them up, and 2 years later they're down the street working at that bank that has the $1 billion budget, right, making more money. So the lack of resources is an issue. So you really need to start thinking about what tools and automation I can put in place that don't require high priced resources. And then compliance, I think at some level, although there's not a regulator that's coming into, for example, in every industry like they have in energy, but your auditors may require you to have some level of compliance against a standard. So that's another trend. Choose a standard like NIST or 62443 or something along those lines. But the other sort of macro trend is that insurance companies are now really starting to look at their clients and saying, hey, can we write these cyber policies? So if you have a cyber policy today, and you're paying X amount of dollars for it, you may have seen it go up, but they may also come with strings attached. You may get an auditor from your insurance company that comes in and says, show me your cyber program, show me what's going on. And I've actually had some conversations with folks that were unable to renew their policy because the maturity level, as vis-a-vis cyber and OT was too low, and the insurance companies would not underwrite their environment. So, I think stay tuned on that. I think the insurance companies, they swing a big stick. In our neck of the woods, the trampolines disappeared from people's backyards and the diving boards because you couldn't get a homeowner's policy. So they can really make life interesting if they decide that you have to have X amount of maturity in your environment, and you have to prove it in order to get that cyber policy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So also looking into the future, what do you see as the future threat landscape for the industrial sector?
So one of the I think obviously the biggest threat today is geopolitical, right? So we clearly have, and we've had these adversaries for, I've been around the information security space for almost 20 years. And, 20 years ago, I was working for a company where we were, fighting with China to lock down companies' intellectual property, so some of the companies did it, and they did it well, and they locked everything and all their patents in a vault and encrypted everything 20 years ago, and they're still in business. Other companies haven't been so lucky where, the Chinese have come in and stolen their IP, and now they're global competitors, right? So that's been going on a long time, but it's going to continue to go on, and I think accelerate. Especially as the tensions grow, there's going to be less of an appetite for the Chinese to take their foot off the brakes in terms of the theft that's going on. So, I kind of perceive China as thieves, or some part of their government as thieves, and Russia as criminals, right, as robbers, right, so as bank robbers. So now the issue with Russia is that if there's about 400,000 software developers in Russia. And a lot of, many of those folks were employed by Western companies, either as outsourced contractors or as part of, teams running IT at banks and so forth. It's going to be a lot of unemployed, very talented technical people in Russia. And, they're going to need to feed their families. So the chances of them, going to the dark side and joining the ransomware gangs, which is a very, lucrative business model in Russia, is relatively high. So my thesis is that we're going to see not a decrease in ransomware, but an increase in ransomware and the sophistication of those attacks. And that's really part of the geopolitical landscape as well. So those, not there's not other threats out there, that there's not insider threats. And we used to joke back in the day, it was the person that couldn't get a date on Saturday night we had to worry about, that was hacking into the phone company and so forth. But we have much bigger issues on our hands today. And everyone is really a target. If I was reviewing a hack that happened at a $70 million technology company, and their cleanup cost was close to $18 million, right? So, so there's a lot of, without putting too much fun in it, there's actually concrete examples that if you're unfortunate enough to be on, on the target list, then you're gonna pay, and it could be for a company that size, if they didn't have cyber insurance, probably would have put them out of business.
Yeah, no, definitely, it can be incredibly expensive when people get hit, and very disruptive. And you also don't want to be on the news headlines either. So
that's right.
You don't want to make the next president's speech about cybersecurity.
Yeah, I felt for the CEO of Colonial Pipelines that had to go down and testify in Congress, and he was the victim, not the gangster. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure getting up in front of Congress to testify is never something that people really enjoy. So
that's right.
So let's close this out. Where do you see Veracity going? What's your vision for Veracity? If we did this again in 3, 4, 5 years, what would you like to talk about?
Well, so our chairman is Dave Whitehead, who's the CEO of Schweitzer Engineering Labs, and one of the smarter technologists that I've met over the course of my career. And I asked him the question, why should I join this company, when I was interviewing? And he said, well, software-defined networking, which is what Veracity does, is the next big thing in OT. So I'm taking that to the bank, that we're the next big thing in OT, or at least software-defined networking is, and we believe we've got the platform to actually deploy that and enable it for our customers. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to help automate these networks, harden them, provide cybersecurity, network segmentation, and management, and really get rid of sort of the mess that's currently most OT networks today, and actually streamline it. So, my vision is to make, Veracity the next big thing in OT.
Great. I'm excited to be along for the ride too. So,
well, buckle up.
Well, it's going to be a lot of work, but I think I'm excited about it as well. And I joined a year ago, and really that's what it is. As a lifetime product person, it was really exciting to see a product that solves a real problem that customers are willing to buy. And having been, most product people run into a few of those that don't do that over their career, but this is so exciting what we do and where we're going. So
yeah, there's a huge demand for it.
Exactly. So I just want to say the team and I are all very excited to have you on board. We're looking forward to what we can do.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing folks out in the marketplace.
So I'm Jason Weber, Vice President of Product for Veracity and Industrial Networks. This has been another episode of OT Cyber Apps. To learn more, please stop by our website at veracity.io. Thank you.